Welcome to the Vickey Lalwani Show. This is debate number one. I welcome Taran Adarsh. You don't need any introduction. Expert trade analyst. Vishak Chauhan, leading film exhibitor in Bihar. And of course, Akshaye Rathi, who is all over in Mumbai. So, this is the first debate, and it's going to talk about the biggest talking point this week, that is Bhool Bhulaiyaa versus Singham. Who is going to win this over the weekend? I really want to know from all three of you on several points. Now, before I start, actually, it will be very easy to term this as exit poll because हमारे देश में exit poll को एक disclaimer लग चुका है कि गलत भी गया तो चलता है. So let's start with you, Taran.
Yeah.
What do you think? Who holds the edge?
Well, I think it's a bit too early to comment on this right now because the screens have yet to be allotted to both the films. And I'm talking about the major multiplexes, PVR, Inox, and Cinepolis. The official statement is yet to come in, and they're yet to settle the entire thing. Having said that, I feel both the films have an edge this time because they belong to different genres. And I genuinely feel that the plus point of Singham, of course, is that it's a huge star cast, it's a brand, and most importantly, they have integrated drama in the plot. I think that's a major asset. On the other hand, you have Bhool Bhulaiyaa 3, which is hugely popular with the families, with the youth. Karthik Aaryan is a youth icon as well. And the songs, of course, which have been recreated time and again, including Ami Jai Tomar, which has just come out day for yesterday. So keeping the fingers crossed for both the films. I think more than anyone else, the industry needs a success. I need successful films right now to close the year. It's a festive season, and the exhibitors, Vishek ji and Akshay, both are such experienced people. They would be able to shed light more on how the exhibition sector is bleeding right now. And I genuinely hope that it really works for them, for every exhibitor out there. Because, there has been a scarcity of releases. The exhibitors have been playing the old kind of films which have not been attracting footfalls. So it's very, very extremely important that both the films work at the box office.
Akshay?
Well, I think, fairly in agreement with Taranji, but just a little more disappointed than he is with the way things are playing out. Because as an exhibitor, it's been a very, very scary year where it's just about Stree 2, Munjaya, to some extent, Kalki, couple of films that have actually managed to make us stay afloat when it comes to the whole financial equation of running the cinemas. And in Diwali, which is supposed to be such a good period for business, where you have two films that have the short ability to draw footfalls, we are in-house, creating such a mess and not being able to set our house in order. And that's really unfortunate. This should be, you asked who will win. The entity that should have ideally won this scenario was the audience, where they should have had the choice to book the tickets to their favorite movie the Sunday before the release, which was yesterday. And till now, for most major multiplex chains, for many major cinemas, they still don't know which one they can book where and what show timings. So this is an opportunity that we are losing out on by every passing minute. And I really hope that we can get our house in order very, very quickly. And after that, hopefully create a scenario where the audience has that choice to watch the movie of their choice first and hopefully watch the other one immediately after, because both of them are so entertaining.
Vishek, ये क्यों हो रहा है कि हर बार when there are two films, the advance booking is in a mess till Wednesday, till Thursday sometimes. You don't know if the film has got a censor certificate because Singham still hasn't. We are speaking on a Monday. And the advance bookings have not opened. One doesn't know which show to choose, how to plan your Diwali. Why is this always a mess? Festival or no festival?
First of all, let me put a little few figures out there for the people to understand the gravity of the situation. PVR Inox, our largest exhibitor in the country, for the calendar year has posted, for the 3 quarters that have come, they have posted 321 crore as losses for this year. So if PVR Inox is in such a dire state, then you can imagine what is the plight of the small exhibitors who are running cinemas in small towns like ours, me, Akshay, we are bleeding. We are heavily bleeding. We are hemorrhaging. And on top of that, where two potential films which could have done blockbuster business individually are being clashed together, cannibalizing the business. You asked a question, who will win? I think no one will win. The producers will have two films which will underperform because both are wide films catering to the widest possible audience, and they are catering to the universal audience. So cannibalization will happen there. You are asking the audience, the common man, especially in Bombay, Delhi, the bigger towns, where ticket prices will be jacked up during Diwali. After spending Diwali, where the consumers spend, where Nestle, where everyone has said that the money is tight in the common man's hand, you're asking him to watch two films back to back. So you are asking too much from him. As an exhibitor, a lot of exhibitors across India are being asked to choose one film over the other. Now, that is so sad. Now, here we've been hungry throughout the year. We've not been able to eat properly. We are starving, literally. And now two lovely, dishes are in front of us, and people say you can't have them, and you can't have them. And this is the plight of the trade that the exhibition sector is facing. It is just so bad a situation. You ask about the audience is losing, the exhibitors is losing, the distributors are losing, the producers is losing. Who exactly is winning this clash, and why are we clashing in the first place? Coming back to your question, Vicky, that people are coming to the cinemas asking for tickets. They're asking for tickets. Can we get tickets? We have no answer. I run the only cinema in my district. When I had come down to this part of the world, I mean, when I left my corporate job and I came back to my hometown, there were more than 90 cinemas in my area. Today, we are down to 8. That's how alarming it is. And even then, we are not learning. The theatrical business is about theaters. And if theaters don't survive, neither does this ecosystem. So everybody in the trade talks about, oh, two films can coexist very naturally with each other. And we hear all this भाईचारा वाली बातें कि भाई दो फिल्में साथ में चल सकती हैं, पर अचानक से रिलीज के पास आते आते स्क्रीन कम पड़ जाती हैं, सारे स्क्रीन जितनी दुनिया के हैं वो भी कम पड़ जाते हैं, शोज कम पड़ जाते हैं. एंड वी आर इन दिस अगेन इन द सेम सिचुएशन वेयर फिल्म इज सपोज टू रिलीज ऑन फ्राइडे and we are talking about the Monday and we cannot open advances, and it is a very, very, very sad situation. Audiences are coming, inquiries are coming, clubs are coming, we want to book, we have no answer. We are telling them to go back, and you know what, they'll plan something else. They'll go somewhere else. People are not going to wait. People are going to go somewhere else. People are going to plan their holidays in some other manner. If you are not going to be there, people just don't wait. There are just too many options out there. So you have to understand that delivery of the product is equally important. Distribution is also important. Just making a film is not important. Puri dunya aapke liye nahi bathi hui hai. So you have to understand, you have to play by that. So this is a very, very sad situation. I really don't think anyone is winning. I think everyone in the trade is going to lose.
That's a very important point you made, Vishek. But I just want to understand that how much does it affect the business when A gets 12 screens and B gets 7 or 8?
Vicky, I'll just give you an example. I mean, in 2022, a film of Prabhas was coming, Radhe Shyam. And there another film was releasing alongside with it called The Kashmir Files. And I asked my distributor, I literally had to beg him, ki, please give me one show. And he was like, nahi, this will not work in your center. This is like, Bade Shahar ki picture. It will not work in your cinema. Maine kaha, please give me, there is a lot of inquiry for that film. I begged the Radhesham distributor, it was AA Films, to allow me one show for the Kashmir Files. And we started playing it in one show. And from there on, it went on to play in 4 shows. Then came Bachchan Pandey. It absorbed Bachchan Pandey. And then it ran parallelly, beautifully against Triple R also, taking that film on and getting its own audience throughout. The ultimate power lies in the hand of the audience. Either you get one show or you get 5,000 shows. If people want to watch your film, they will irrespectively make it a blockbuster from one show. I think Kashmir Files got one show or 2 shows across the country, and then it went on to do 200 to 250 crores. So all this conjecture about screens, about all this, doesn't really boil down to anything. The ultimate programmer, I keep telling Akshay this, the ultimate programmer is the audience. post Thursday, from Friday, the audience will start doing their own programming. And all this, what we are discussing, all this that is happening, nothing will come to help you then. Then it's the audience and their preference. And exhibitors will follow what the audience tells them to. If my one film is performing extraordinarily and the other is not, no one can stop me from increasing shows. If one film is getting, shows are getting cancelled and the audience is very less, I will reduce the number of shows because the audience will decide. And I get 50 shows, you get 10 shows. All this is not there. The audience, if they like it, they will power a one show film to 250 crores. And from 5,000 shows, if you get, you will fall at 50 crores also. So it's really boils down to how likable and how enjoyable and how the audience really, gets along the film with.
So, Taran, what he's saying is it's just a question of optics and ego.
I completely endorse the point of view of Vishak ji as well as Akshay, and especially something that Vishak ji just mentioned about Kashmir Files and Radhesham. That's a reality because a lot of time. I mean, I distinctly remember when Kashmir Files released. On that particular day, the producer had called me up, Abhishek Agarwal, and he said, मुझे बहुत कम स्क्रीन्स मिले हैं, शोज नहीं है, और मुझे कहा जा रहा है कि आपकी फिल्म तो बस गिने चुने शहरों में चलेगी, क्योंकि विवेक अग्निहोत्री की जो पिछली फिल्म थी टैशकेंट फाइल्स, वो भी इतनी चली थी और उसका कोई मार्केट नहीं है, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है. एंड ही वाज सो डिसअपॉइंटेड. इमेजिन द फर्स्ट शो हैज नॉट स्टार्टेड एंड ही वाज सो डिसहार्टेंड एंड डिसअपॉइंटेड कि मेरी फिल्म का होगा क्या, थिएटर ही नहीं मिल रहे हैं, कोई लगाने को तैयार नहीं है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स गॉट नो कॉन्फिडेंस. बट it was the audience that took the film to dizzy heights of success. And what Vishek ji just mentioned, उनका सामना राधे श्याम जैसी, प्रभास, पूजा हेगड़े, pan India film के साथ हुआ था, and yet it was this film was a clear winner by leaps and bounds. So I genuinely feel that somewhere down the line, these two parties, in this case Bhool Bhulaiyaa as well as Singham Again, should sit across the table, should sort out the issue. And in my own capacity, I did mention it to someone. I don't want to really get into that, but I did tell one of the producers that, why don't you sit across and sort it out? तो बोले नहीं, हमें इतने screens चाहिए. There was more to it, but then I don't want to get into that. But the thing is, when the ego factor comes into play, then मेरी फिल्म बड़ी है या मेरी फिल्म ज़्यादा ट्रैकिंग हो रही है और मेरी फिल्म का ओपनिंग उतना लगेगा, या दूसरा कह रहा है मेरा म्यूजिक कमाल का है. So all that factor that comes in, हमने पहले अनाउंस किया था, why are they coming? So all these things, when something like this you keep hearing from both the sides, you don't feel happy because ultimately the industry loses. The audience, and Vishek ji just mentioned a very, very वो बोलते हैं ना कि कड़वी सच्चाई, बिटर पिल उन्होंने कहा है कि भाई ऑडियंस आ रही है थिएटर में इंक्वायरी करने के लिए, एंड वी आर सेइंग सॉरी, वी डोंट नो, द एग्जिबिटर्स डोंट नो व्हेन आर दे गोइंग टू ओपन द एडवांस बुकिंग विंडोज फॉर दोस टू पर्टिकुलर फिल्म्स, एंड दे गोइंग बैक विदाउट गेटिंग द टिकट्स, एंड दे हैव अदर प्लान्स टू फॉर द दिवाली फेस्टिव पीरियड. सो अगर ये फिल्म नहीं देखेंगे तो कुछ और कर लेंगे.
Akshay, do you remember a case? Akshay, do you remember a case where the egos dissolved and one producer took a backseat?
I think, unfortunately, in recent times, I actually don't wish it, Vicky.
I don't.
I can tell you of enough instances, and I can give you enough examples in recent times where things went wrong, where things got down to being ugly, and that's happened way too many often. It happened during Gadar in, Oh My God 2. It happened during Sam Bahadur in Animal. It happened during Raees and Kabil. It happened during Dilwale and I think Bajirao Mastani. So enough and more examples I can tell you where things got very ugly. But I can rarely think of an example where things happened in the most seamless, dignified, respectable manner. Now, I'll tell you one thing that stems from this, right, Vicky? Sure, we did have a house in order. We got into stupid squabbles. We did hemorrhage each other, and we made sure that we all lost, right? Now, unfortunately, we are at a scenario where, as an industry, there are just about two studios that operate, right? There's TCVs on one side, there's Jio on the other. All the producers are crying about the fact that there's no access to institutional finance, right? Doing these sort of things, which is brazenly stupid to anyone who has an iota of common sense to their eyes, Do you think we are creating a scenario that is conducive to private finance or to institutional finance coming into our industry? What is the kind of messaging that we are doing? We are telling people that hey, we are an industry that prefers to massage our own egos rather than being rational, rather than doing what's good for business. So please stay away from us. Please don't invest money in us, and we will continue to be, to be silly in our own manner. And this is unfortunately why. And on the other hand, we are trying to go to the government and ask for rebates, subsidies, grants, and better policy. Do you think anyone in their right mind with this kind of a appeal that we see within the industry is going to want to touch us? It's extremely sad. And here's the thing: so many companies that are involved in this equation are actually listed on the stock markets. And I really wonder what kind of optics are we trying to put out by doing these sort of things. So I really hope we get our house in order and we are a lot more pragmatic with the way we operate.
Let's go over to the optics that have been put before us. Let's take the star cast and the trailer. Who is edging out whom on that? Let's take the star cast first.
I mean, Vicky, we just spoke about a scenario that had Prabhas on one side and Mr. Vivek Agnihotri and Mr. Anupam Kher on the other. So eventually, a star cast can get you an opening. It can give you visibility, awareness. But ultimately, audience Devo Bhava, you never ever know what's going to happen on the Friday of the movie's release. And sure, see, optics wise, of course, Singham is a much bigger film, right? I mean, you've got multiple superstars, you've got a star director, you've got the leading production studio in the country backing it, you've got a solid distribution company which is actually spearheaded by one of the country's largest exhibition chains. And on the other hand, you have a distributor who's distributed Bahubali, Kalki, some of the most KGF, some of the most successful films out there. You've got Mr. Anees Bazmi, who's got an enviable track record. You've got a franchise like Bhool Bhulaiyaa, which has never failed. So these two look like absolute mammoths that are going to war with each other. But then eventually, what will prevail by Friday evening is the merit of the movie's content and how entertaining and engaging they are, and how wide an audience they eventually appeal to and excite. So to say anything or predict anything basis the optics or the setup, I think we all can say it, and common sense dictates that it's Singham. But then you never know what the audience is going to be in the mood for when the movies are out and the reports are in place.
Taran?
Yes, I agree with Akshay. I mean, on face value, of course, you have Singham, which has got a huge star cast, a massive star cast actually, and then you've added a cameo of Chulbul Pandey as well, which has also been announced officially. But the thing is, कि eventually, जब Friday the पहला show खत्म होता है for both the films, I'm sure the verdict would be out, and then we'll get to know as to किस film का पलड़ा भारी है. At the moment, right now, when I look at this, I feel Singham and Bhool Bhulaiyaa 3 should both start with a bang. I think because both are huge films, and I think, and I'm very confident that by evening the trends would be very, very clear. By afternoon the trends would be very clear as to which film is getting the mandate of the audience.
By the trailer, Vishek, which one did impress you? Which one impressed you more?
I'll be very honest with you. I didn't really enjoy the first trailer of Singham Again. I thought it was too long. It gave away too much. It didn't have that punch that was needed. I personally felt Suryavanshi trailer was much better cut. But the second song that has come from Singham, the title track, I think it is fantastic. It has just hit home very beautifully. And it has done its job now. I think the masses are excited. Now, the thing is that you have Ajay Devgn, Akshay Kumar, Tiger Shroff. All these guys are huge mass action stars. And they have a very strong history in the mass belt. Specifically, if I speak about Bihar, Ajay Devgn has like an amazing following. So does Akshay. And Tiger, over a short period of time, has built a very solid following in the masses. Ranveer Singh hasn't been able to build that kind of an action image over a period of time, but yes, he's definitely an advantage. So definitely in the mass belts, in the single screens, Singham will dominate. It has to dominate because it's an action film. It has pressed all the right buttons. The trailer was slightly a dampener, but then what's followed, it's much better. So now I think the momentum is there. The inquiries have really picked up in last 2-3 days for Singham. I thought Bhool Bhulaiyaa has pressed the right buttons from the beginning. I think they have done a much better job. I think the trailer was much better cut, the first trailer. The songs, pretty good. Although would have liked Daljit also in the song, although Karthik is there solo, but would have liked some more actors like Pitbull and Daljit would have added value. And I personally feel that I think one thing that Team Bhool Bhulaiyaa isn't doing too much, in my opinion, is that why isn't Madhuri Dixit and all these guys coming all out and promoting the film? I mean, why are you holding it back? When you're clashing with a film like Singham Again and such a big star cast, I think Madhuri Dixit and Vidya Balan, that's the real story for the audience here. And I think that should have come out more. So I think ifs and buts, both. One is a horror comedy, which is proven now, is a proven genre in India now. It's like a solid genre. Stree doing 600 crores. And you have, on the other hand, the cop universe. The last film, Suryavanshi, kind of revived Bollywood. It put all the doubts and the naysayers to rest. Before that, we were questioning, will Bollywood work? Will Bollywood, what will happen to Bollywood? Nothing was working. Win 50% cap. On a Diwali, it came and it did nearly 200 crores. So in normal times, you can imagine the kind of number. So you are sitting at a very big audience base who likes that kind of cinema. Mind you, Akshay Kumar's films haven't worked. Ajay Devgn's films haven't worked on that level. But whenever you get to see them in those mass avatars, theaters will start erupting. So I think both the films are in a beautiful position right now. I think, as Taranji and Akshay rightly said, the content needs to now connect, and whichever film will connect in a better manner with the audiences and connect emotionally and drive home the point, in. Like Bhool Bhulaiyaa last time had a lovely, lovely, lovely emotional arc about the two sisters. And, similarly, if they manage to do that, and Singham again this time, it has the backdrop of the Ramayana. So I think both are looking extremely extraordinary for both the audiences. And I think that's the problem I said. They are playing to such wide audiences now that cannibalization is bound to happen. And I think that is what is hurting me most. I would have loved to give them 5 shows each whenever they came. And I just want to add one more little point here, Vicky, is that the theatrical audience has got filtered down now. Festival or no festival, 3-4 crore का audience है. और वो कोई दिवाली के टाइम पे 7-8 करोड़ नहीं हो जाता है. So it remains that only. And this audience, now we are playing Venom, and Akshay is also playing Venom. No college campus tours, no mall tours, no Kapil Sharma show. Solid opening on the day, 2 days before they decide to release it on a Thursday, and the audience is outside movie theaters filling it up. So how does that happen? The theatrical audience now is a very dedicated subset of audience. It's a small subset. 2-3% को आप cater कर रहे हो, उनको ज़्यादा spoon feeding करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. All you have to do is tell them when you're coming. All they need is like an open week, full attention, so that you can conquer them. And films have proven, Jawan proved it. It came after Gadar, and it did like fabulous business. It opened to extremely great numbers. People used to tell me that back-to-back blockbusters are not possible because the audience has spent all their money. How come 70 crore ki opening kaise lag gayi thi tab? You see, all this logic and conjecture is there. But you have to understand that giving your film that complete mind space, that week, that open week is more important than coming on a festival. I'm just dying here, okay? I'm like in so much pain, I can't tell you. That, I would have loved to play both these films. These films would have done like 2-3 weeks of business in my cinema, supported my cinema so beautifully. And now we will have to wrap them up in 2 to 3 weeks combined, which is sad. I think 3-4 weeks of run for each theater is like really out of the window by clashing this. Yeah.
Taran, you write reviews. How much are reviews going to play a role now in these two?
No, I don't. I think the most important factor today is the word of mouth by the common man, by the audience that comes out of the theater.
So reviews have ceased to matter.
Kuch bhi nahi. Audience, Janta Janardan is the final verdict. I have realized, and I just told this yesterday as well to Bollywood Hangama. I said, reviews are good for your ego. The producer gets up in the morning and says, wow, I've got these 4 and 5 star review ratings and everything is fine. But by Friday afternoon, He's so worried. Even the actors, I must tell you, I must add here, all the actors, and I don't want to name them right now, but all the actors, they want to know मेरा पहला दिन कितना लगेगा, मेरा second day कितना लगेगा, मेरा third day कितना लगेगा, मेरा week 1 कितना जाएगा, मेरा lifetime कितना होगा, reports क्या आ रही है. That's all that matters. Box office is the ultimate authority, is the final verdict that they really want at the, to know as to how it's going to do. Reviews and everything, kuch bhi nahi.
One more factor is there, Akshay, that's social media. And there are camps. It's like how Rohit fans and Virat fans, you're going to have a camp of Bhool Bhulaiyaa, you're going to have a camp of Singham. They're bound to attack each other at least on day 1 or maybe even day 2. How much does that matter?
Well, see, beyond a point, at the box office, it barely has an impact for the simple reason that ultimately people who want to watch a particular film will watch it, and those who don't want to watch a particular film will not. But, I used to believe that this is absolutely irrelevant and it should not be encouraged. Till Vishak, me, and a bunch of other exhibitors were actually at an exhibitors roundtable recently, where somebody very senior, Mr. Suresh Babu Dagguvati, made a very interesting point. And he said that, all of this is something we should encourage because it at least keeps the buzz, the excitement among fans in place. Even if it's a little ugly, even if it's a little, uncalled for in terms of the kind of language used, it at least shows that the audience is up and alive and they are kind of, robustly excited about a certain film and they are rooting for their favorite star. What should not happen is people deploying all of these things artificially to run other films down. That is ugly. And that again, puts a very sad picture of us as an industry out. But the organic bit of excitement and euphoria among fans that is expressed on the social media and more importantly in theaters, when they're there cheering for their favorite star, clapping, whistling, that expression of the audience's excitement is something we should not just allow, but we should, absolutely encourage and push for.
Thank you. Thank you, Taran. Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, Vishek. It's just a matter of few hours before we know what will happen.
As we speak, Vicky, and I'm sure Taranji and Vishek would have just about heard about it too. As we speak, I think news is coming in of the censor certificate of Singham coming in.
Yeah.
So I think by this evening, we should all be able to open the advance.
I hope. I also just
yeah. It's just coming as we speak. So
yes,
yes. The August company of these gentlemen on screen is lucky for all of us.
Yeah.
I just wish that tickets are priced reasonably.
Very important.
And it's a very long debate which we'll have in one of the forthcoming days.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky, for having us.
Thank you.